There's a famous quote in this CrossFit community that I happen to be in, and it says, "Men will die for points." Greg Glassman said this in the CrossFit Level 1 handbook way back in the day. I don't even know if it's still in it, but I remember as I was studying to take my Level 1 back in like 2010, 2011, I ran across this quote and I began to think about it. And yes, men will die for points. It's kind of how we replicate war in a sense, where we're at peace times, we have to take sport and some other sort of competition or battle, so to speak. And that is how, especially men, this is how we kind of express that, you could say, anger or that willingness to be a provider, a protector, and someone that just wants to feel success in their endeavors, whatever that may be. 2024 is here. CrossFit Games have just kicked off, and Lazar Dukic has passed away in the first event, in the swimming event, apparently maybe 50 meters before the finish line. And you can already see some of the finger pointing and people trying to place blame. It's very early. We don't know any details yet, whether he had some sort of medical event while he was in the water, or he literally had issues in the water and he had trouble and unfortunately passed away. And I've already had some of my members reach out to me talking about it. I've had probably a dozen people send me a message how much of a tragedy this is. And yes, it's an absolute tragedy. I hate to see anyone lose their life, especially in a way like this. But these men and women who are competing are pushing the absolute boundaries of what we thought humans can do. And that's kind of what CrossFit is. No one else is doing that. So there is a level of danger inherently when you're doing these activities. And as a CrossFit gym owner, we can sometimes want to access this feeling of pushing our limits, pushing our boundaries, because this is how we ensure adaptation. This is how we get that PR on our clean and jerk. This is how we, get a faster time in a 1 mile run, is that we are pushing outside of the boundaries of what we see as comfortable, what we see as even being able to do. And unfortunately, dangerous things can happen. Who is at fault for this? I'm not even going to talk about that at all. But I have had people reach out and say that, this event was poorly programmed. Who would put a swim after a run? Valid points, maybe. But I also think that there are some people that if they were to hear someone say that this is dangerous, you shouldn't put a swim after a run where you're already pre-fatigued and you run the risk of drowning, there would be a very large amount of people that would probably respond to that comment and say, "Oh, you're just being soft. If you're going to be soft, then stay home. Don't compete." And I think that we have started to breed that kind of mentality. But then when something like this happens, we all pull back and start to say that this is probably not something they should have done. And I think that's obviously something that we should consider. But in this pursuit of elite fitness, and as a guy that owns a CrossFit gym that has been in the CrossFit space for a very long time, going on 14, 15 years at this point, I can see my own members at my own gym kind of get down on themselves because they say, "Oh, well, I could have done better at this workout. I could have lifted this lift heavier. I could have added some more weight to the bar, or I could have pushed a little harder, and I could have beat this person." And this is how we can start to go down a very dangerous path as we draw ourselves into this competitive atmosphere. On the other hand, this competitive atmosphere is what gets us to adapt in the success that we want as a human being, whether it be CrossFit or any sort of physical endeavor. We want to see that we're making progress. And in order to make progress, you kind of have to do things that you're either not used to doing or you have never done. So for my family and friends who are the casual CrossFitters at the gym, I would say just consider this thought. The next time you have these thoughts in your head come up after workout and you wished you would have done this, or you wished you'd have gone heavier, you wished you'd have, run faster, or you should have done all your toes to bar unbroken instead of breaking them up, and I could have done better. I will tell you this, anybody that works out at my gym consistently, and by consistently, I mean 3 or 4 days a week, you're probably fitter than most of the people that you know, even most of the people that you know that work out. And I say this because I've been in this world a very long time, and I will, venture out into other fitness communities, if you will. And people that do CrossFit consistently are the most fit people in the world. And it's because we continue to push ourselves outside of that comfortable box, and that competitive community within a class. It almost forces your body to do better, your mind to be better. The next time you have these thoughts of wishing you would have gone harder, I'm not saying that those thoughts are wrong or something you should not feel, but maybe just give yourself a little more credit for making the attempt, because most people are not. Most people are not making the attempt. They're staying home, they're overeating, they're under moving, and it's just not a very good experience in life, because your quality of life is only going to be what you put into it. And most of us aren't putting much of anything into it. We're not commanding ourselves to get better. If you're going to the gym, at my gym, CrossFit Gallatin, this is for you people, you probably need to give yourself a little more credit. Definitely keep trying. Continue to try to PR your lifts, to try to do better, go faster in these workouts. But I have seen a lot of people in the recent past that are way too negative about how they're applying themselves in their physical lives. You need to give yourself more credit. My prayers go out to the Dukic family, his brother, the CrossFit community. It's a very sad day. And these are just things that I've been thinking about, that as people are reaching out to me, and I would hope that we can all maybe give ourselves a little more credit. And maybe it's not the end of the world if we didn't do this or do that. Hindsight is always that. I don't want to say it's a complete waste of time, but we can definitely learn from past mistakes. But I do wonder if sometimes this pursuit of elite fitness, what is the ultimate gain out of it? It is the massive ego growth. Is it just trying to get better? I've seen people turn into different types of people as they move through this process. So I hope that we can reconsider what it means to be fit and able, and to take care of ourselves and to take care of our community. And prayers for the Dukic family, the CrossFit community. That's all I got for you. Stay safe, guys.